Good morning. It's 9:53 on this Monday. Uh-oh, what's wrong with the music track? What happened? Dave and Gina, sorry, comment there. Probably just some signal glitch when it goes to the other formats like Facebook. Sometimes it sounds a little weird. But yeah, either way, you hope you guys are rocking here on this Monday. I know that we have a lot to talk about when it comes to setup as we head into your Tuesday. We will get to that in a second. Several things to discuss today. It's going to be a rather lengthy blog. I'll try to get everything done here in the next 20 minutes and explain as much as I can. Hello, everyone. Wave meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to StormTALK or the I-65 shutdown blog. Loving the graphics different in the studio. Anyway, you can tell that they're all working. They're all working on the midday show, creating graphics, and studio gets active. You never know who you're going to see in the background. Apparently, one day Myra was dancing behind me in the background in the studio, and I did not see it. You guys did. I did not. I was a little slow. All right, so we're going to go through this step by step, and you guys are going to have a lot of questions. Will I get hit by heavy rain? What time will I get a bad storm? Could I see a tornado? Will the SBC update us again back into a enhanced risk kind of scenario? You're going to have a lot of questions like that. I get it. My goal here, though, is to hopefully explain all of this step by step and where I think the modeling is doing well, where it's not doing so well, and kind of give you the best storyline I can. So give me a chance to explain it all. Give me 15, 20 minutes here to get through all the data. And then I promise we'll get to your questions if I did not clear anything up. Type 1 if that works. Type 1 if that works. If not, well, then I don't know what to do. This is the best thing I can handle for explaining. But hopefully I get a lot of ones that will show up in the chat. Okay, couple of things to point out. First off, this is a live look right now into downtown Louisville from the harbors in Jeffersonville. You see some cumulus, but notice something looks a little off here. And you should notice it if you've been on the blog many times and you look at that camera. Something doesn't seem right, and you would be correct if you're thinking it is the wildfire smoke. It is here today, and the air quality is over 100. We're already at code orange level. So that's not good. That's going to lead to poor air quality for the rest of the day. A lot of the sensors now coming in at code orange. Bowman Field, J-Town, Linview, over to the Parkland neighborhoods, getting over 100. on the particle list. So if you have any type of issue with asthma, COPD, just in general, this is one of those setups where typically ozone can affect you, respiratory issues. But when it comes to wildfire smoke, you do notice it more, no matter if you have a respiratory issue or not. You will smell it in some cases as well. It's not overly dense in our area, which is good. It's not like Detroit and Milwaukee and Toronto, how they were with the smoke last week, even New York City. But it's noticeable enough that it has triggered the sensors today. So I don't see it on the list yet, but they have issued an air quality alert for the Louisville Metro. And it should come out very soon on our maps, but they haven't triggered it yet. But that'll be all the way through midnight for tonight. So will likely fill all in, actually. All on that area you saw the smoke, the poor air quality, it will likely fill in. So anyway, I just want to mention that. Take it easy outside as you venture out for the day today. Otherwise, it will be another hot one for us. 76 in Louisville. We did have a nice little reset last night, which was good. We were able to get temperatures down just a bit, and the humidity was low enough. We're not starting off in the mid 80s. Instead, we're in the mid 70s. All right, that's a plus. Still humid, but still we're looking good. Dew point still in the 70s. So they're coming back, and they will increase more and more later on today, and certainly overnight tonight. It's another warm front that'll move in. Now, that will get the smoke out of here. That'll move it out to the northeast, but it will also bring back the really high hot and humid combo, especially as we get into Tuesday. Looking at the satellite, it's hard to see any of the smoke from the satellite itself because we do have quite a bit of cloud cover at the same time lingering here across south central areas of the Commonwealth. But the smoke is out there all the way to the north as well. But we're right on the edge of the clouds and the haze here in Louisville. If you're more south, you have more of an overcast look to the sky. If you're north, your sky in Indiana and up 71, a little more hazy looking. Louisville will likely stay on the edge of this for the next few hours, but in general, should get increasing amounts of sunshine. Get into a wider view. You could see the haze kind of there showing up there on the satellite looking from space. Again, not a very strong signal for this. It's not intense on the smoke side. Nothing like we had a few years ago, but again, first time we've had it really in this area to trigger the alerts. Now we get into the thunderstorm side. Yay. Okay, so we got the storms there across the upper Midwest. For today. That is going to be the main show today. Is going to be into areas of Wisconsin all the way down into Illinois, or as it's been this year, Tornado Alley. And that will be the spot to watch for severe weather. Also down into the Carolinas, but that, Joel, if you're watching, more North Carolina, but still we got the severe risk to the Midwest. Then tomorrow, that pocket of wind, which starts here into Wisconsin and Illinois, it tracks due southeast. So there's no doubt that areas of southeast Ohio into Pennsylvania, into the mountains in general, as you get into West Virginia and eastern Kentucky, that is a spot where the best severe potential or the highest severe potential will likely take place because that's where the strongest pocket of wind is going to aim. So it basically just grazes into wave country here. This is a kind of the buffer zone that is still questionable. That's the reason why we had the enhanced yesterday was pulled back toward Louisville. Now it's pulled back to the east. It may still shift around. We get an update today at 1:30. We'll let you know if there's any big change on social media, but it depends on the forecaster too, and some of the data, obviously. But sometimes the forecaster will come in Oklahoma. They're the ones that issue these outlooks, and they'll look at the data and say, you know what, maybe we need to extend a little more west. And then the next forecast round that comes in, they look at the data and they're like, oh no, we'll move it back east. Don't get too caught up on these outlooks. They're mainly meant for meteorologists, not for the public anyway, but still, you get the idea that the pocket of wind is aiming right here. This is the main zone that it's going to. But we get grazed by it. It was such a hot and humid setup tomorrow. That is the concern, is that while you can get less wind in an environment like this, you're also dealing with a hotter environment, more unstable into wave country than West Virginia is going to have. So it's a trade-off, a little bit of lower wind values, but very high on Cape. And will that matter? Will that lead to perhaps a bigger severe issue that could develop in Kentucky than West Virginia will have as the final outcome? That's a good question. And in some cases, we've seen that before, and they have to hurry up and adjust the outlooks at the last minute, right? So it's a tough one when you get that balance. And that's why I think we're on that buffer zone. We don't know yet exactly how the wind field will be. This is just an estimate. We don't know exactly how much fuel we're going to have on heating for the day because cloud cover and morning rain, will that mess things up? We don't know. And that will make a difference. If we're very unstable in the afternoon and temperatures go higher than expected, then that's not good. That is going to likely lead to more of an environment for severe wind potential, especially in hail. So something to watch. We'll keep you updated on this, but that's the reason why the outlooks have kind of been bouncing around a bit. It's just that we're kind of in that weird zone here into wave country. But certainly for east of 65, I do think there's more of a worry here. And that's what's going to be weird about this one. I'll be very blunt with this. You're going to see our odds of getting rain tomorrow at about 60%. That's not very, I mean, it's high, don't get me wrong, but it's not 100%. So that should tell you that some of you are going to get missed. Some of you will get 0 in your rain gauge on rainfall out of the system. And some of you are going to have a problem. You're going to get hit with high wind potential and flooding, which we'll look at in a second. So it's very much a feast or famine kind of setup on how this will play out tomorrow. So we're going to be watching all 34 of our counties. You guys are, our family. We're going to take care of you. But I just want to be clear that some of you will not get anything. So some get upset when they don't get severe weather. I don't know why. But some of you do get upset. You don't get it. But you should be happy that you're going to miss out on this one, because this one will have a nice little kick to it. Being a daytime event, as I always said, anytime we get daytime events here, we got to pay attention. We do run into more problems with that than the nocturnal 2 a.m. stuff. So just make sure you're on guard tomorrow. Make sure you got the Wave weather app, NOAA weather radio. Have a way just to be notified, because there will be multiple rounds of storms. It's not one wave. It's multiple, as you'll see. So make sure you have a way to get notified in case we get active weather all evening. Okay, there they go. That issue, find the air quality alert for midnight for Louisville. So you see a wave just popped in at the bottom. So let's break down the severe risk for tomorrow. Let's start with the tornado potential. I do like where this is at. I do think you get into Marion County. I will show you a sounding in that area in a second, but this area, Kentucky, is concerning me for any type of tornado potential that could develop. Not as worried about it right now for Indiana and around Louisville and 71. But southern areas, the southeast areas of Louisville, I do have a concern on the tornado side. I'll explain. Your damage and wind potential is the highest of the threats. That's what's triggered the enhanced for most of eastern Kentucky into the Appalachians themselves. And you notice it drops off. So you got a higher tier in East Kentucky, and then it drops off as you head more west because the wind field is not as strong. And that angle diving in from Illinois later on for tonight and tomorrow, it aims for West Virginia. So because it grazes only our western counties, your categories are a little lower on things, but still some severe potential. Hail potential is there, and I do think there's something to watch here. The only thing they can cut down on this is sometimes the modeling can be really wild with the hail setup, but you got to keep in mind the environment. We don't always get these wind events, by the way, in July, late July. Organized severe weather, pretty rare. Pop-up downburst winds, yes. But organized severe doesn't happen often in our region for the summer season. And when it's happening in an environment that is very hot and humid, relatively speaking, to other times of the year, like in the spring and the fall, we can get severe weather to take place. That's going to add a bit of an unusual element to it. So in this case, the modeling is going to pick out the idea there could be a lot of large hail. However, it is a hot summer day. So some of that hail will likely melt as it falls. So the size may be reduced a bit. So I don't see huge concern with really large hailstones at the moment, just because of how hot and humid the environment will be. But that's something to watch for tomorrow. I think we'll get some hail reports, don't get me wrong, but very large hail, I think, is going to be a little bit out of the reach on this one. Okay, so let's dive into it. I'm going to show you first the graph model, or in-house model. Then I'll get into a couple more pieces of data. So bear with me on that. No, you are on the map, please. We evolved through the day today. Can't roll a downpour today. They'll be relatively small, by the way. Only thing that pops today. It shouldn't last very long, but I do think one or two are going to form today. So just be aware of that potential. Those will fade out. We get into tonight, quiet into the morning hours. Tomorrow morning, and probably about the time I'm on here tomorrow. That's what we're going to be facing. The morning storms will be diving in. Now, there's a question of how much of this is going to hold. It's going to be in small clusters. It's not going to be a solid line moving in. So timing's a little tough on the morning round. But if you're in Indiana and 71, before we even sit down for lunch, we may have some gusty storms in there. Some severe potential with those. I'm not going to rule that out. There is some signal for that in the morning. This should be late enough to. Well, hi there.
I missed you so much.
How are you? Oh my gosh. It's Myron. Sorry. Come here. Myron, sorry. Say hello to everybody.
Hi, everybody. I just had to see you. It's been a week.
Well, we got, for your welcome back, we got an alert day tomorrow.
I know.
Aren't you excited?
I'm so excited.
Are you so excited? Are you well rested? Did you have a good vacation?
Yeah, can you tell?
Yeah, you do. You seem excited to be here and to see me, which is.
I'm excited to see you.
Oh, okay. That's it. That's what it is. Well, it's good to have you back, my friend. I'll see you at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right, Myron. Sorry. She's so cute. Always runs in here. I never know she's going to bring me a piece of cake, though. So today she didn't. That's fine, then. All right. Anyway, we get into the morning round of storms that moves in. These will fade. This is always, oh boy, for you model watchers out there, you guys know how this goes, right? It's a same old song and dance. You get morning showers and storms that weaken and move in. Then the debate starts. Okay, well, how cloudy is it going to be? Are we going to get rain through 1 or 2 o'clock? Will that tame down the next round of severe weather? And typically it does, right? Typically that can be a huge, 6, 7 here. That could be a huge catalyst to how things will play out. So right now I'm thinking that this is going to fade out enough to at least calm us down for a few hours, but not for very long. Not for very long. I think once these fade out, we're going to run into the second round of storms that will develop as we head into the afternoon. Notice, by the way, the graph takes us 94. Now, the graph does tend to run a little hot, but I do think it's onto something on the heat. And then the second round forms, where that is, good question. I think along and east of 65 seems to be the zone, the watch. And then that will drift down to the south and become your main severe risk as we head into the evening hours. And this has been accelerating. So I think we're going to keep the alert day going to 10 p.m. tomorrow night. But I think in general, most of the action is going to be over by 8 or 9, probably closer to 8. So the alert day itself is going to be 10 to 10 tomorrow. That's the weird time period that we're going to be on guard here at the station. Is 10 to 10. For some of you, though, it will likely end by 8 or 9. I know it's only a couple hours, but hey, we'll take it. The quicker we can get to the other side of the front, trust me, it's worth it. We're just going to get to the other side of the front. And then because we benefit from highs in the 70s for most of you for the middle of the week. Oh boy, that's going to be great. Okay, so we'll come around to that in a second. All right, that's the good news side. Here's the HRRR model. It is picking out on some of the smaller downpours. At the same time, though, the HRRR has a tendency to read cumulus clouds as downpours. So HRRR has it's a little oversensitive, but you get the idea. A couple can form today. I'm not going to roll it out. Otherwise, the haze will be the big story. We get into tomorrow morning. Here we go with the storms that dive in from Indiana. And again, some of these clusters may survive. And if they can push into our Indiana counties at around 71, they could still contain some severe weather warnings, mainly severe thunderstorm for hail and damaging winds. Something to watch as they move in for tomorrow morning. We'll be live here on the blog anyway, and I'll let you know where we're at in 24 hours. Fair enough? All right, then those fade. Then we get the redevelopment. That will develop at some point into the afternoon near the I-64 corridor, potentially. So here's your morning round that, in some cases, tries to refire all the way down to Tennessee, which is interesting. The HRRR keeps doing that. It's 2 or 3 runs in a row it's done that. Then here's your second redevelopment round. The main round to really watch when it comes to severe weather is going to be the late afternoon hours. And once that pops on the radar, that will form and quickly head to the south. But look at these cells that are all lined up here. It's along and south of Parkway is at 7 o'clock. That is a nasty look because while that looks like a line, some of that is going to be individual supercells embedded into a line. We've run into that several times this season, and we've gotten tornado warnings out of that kind of environment. So it's something to watch there, and some hail potential too as we head into the evening hours tomorrow. And then it quickly moves on out, and then we can relax. Okay, so that's some of the model data on this. Now let's get into a little bit more of the weeds here. This is the sounding that I just pulled, and this is the most recent run for around Lebanon, Kentucky, Marion County. Anyone watching from Marion County? Where's Jeremy? This is a sounding. There's a lot of data on here, and yes, it's coming in with a PDS tour for Marion County, which is a particularly dangerous situation. Now, and the reason for that is the wind field is very elevated, along with very intense heat and unstable environment there into Marion County. You're closer to the humidity and the hot environment as we get into central Kentucky, especially for tomorrow afternoon. I'm just picking on right now Marion County, but this is certainly a signal that we could get at least a bit more of a tornado threat for our southeast sections here for tomorrow. Worth watching. All right. This is just one model's piece of data, but I do think it's onto something. It's also onto something on this concern. Heavy rain and flash flooding. Now, this is a worry that I am seeing on almost every high-res model, that there is going to be enough of a repeated round of very heavy storms tomorrow. The PWATs are very high, over 2.5 inches potentially. That is going to put rainfall amounts of 3 to 5 inches in some areas. And if you are east of Louisville, especially Frankfort, Lexington, all the way down to Marion County and Adair County, that zone keeps popping up as an area to watch for 3 to 5 inch rain totals. And again, some of you will get 0 tomorrow. And if you're west of 65, odds are you're going to be in that 0 range. But if you're near or east of 65, pay extra attention. While we're talking about damaging winds and hail and even isolated tornadoes, this is our biggest killer in Kentucky, is flash flooding, not tornadoes. So please be aware of this. If you've had some problems recently with the heavy rain events we've had several, this is certainly going to cause an issue. And this is just the HER model. Let's look at the graph model. It just now updated. Let's see what it's got. All right, similar idea, right? It likes the 3, and it is a 3 to 5 inch range, aims at west. Now, the NAM model, which is updating right now, I haven't seen the new run, but the most recent run that I did see put the 3 to 5 inches right over Louisville tomorrow afternoon, like at 5 o'clock. Ugh. Well, I hope that doesn't happen, because that would cause a major concern for us in the city of Louisville. Forget the severe wind and tornado threat. That would be a problem. That would be a mess. But it's the only one right now that's aiming toward Louisville to the west. Most of them are east of 65. It's hard to forecast this kind of a setup until we get into it, because we don't know how the morning cluster is going to arrive. Will that be intense enough that when we get the afternoon round, will that go over the same ground? Because that's the idea. That's where these totals are coming from. It's the repeated nature is what it's doing. It's sniffing out that you're going to get multiple rounds, and this is your total for the day. Hopefully we can divide this up and spread it out to where we don't get it all in 1 hour. And I don't think that's the case. I think it will be divided up through the day, but still it will cause problems. So as we look at your zone of concern, I did this before in the last severe weather event. Don't pay as much attention to the colors as I'm painting an idea of zones. All right. So I use different color for zones. Don't read into the red being bad and what you're about to see on colors. So what I'm going to do is the zone of concern for the morning round, 9 to 2, near Louisville and north and east, including I-71 corridor and Indiana. That's the area that we just got to pay attention tomorrow morning, midday-ish, and see what drops in. Then we get into the redevelopment time period. This is where the second round starts to develop. Where will that pop? And I'm thinking right now that's going to be very close to I-64, and I'll give that a window of 4 to 6 p.m. Very close to Louisville, though. Again, 64 corridor. It could be north, could be south. Wherever it forms, the good news is when it pops in the radar, anywhere north of that, you're done. You're out of the severe risk at that point. But if you're south of it, you got a problem. Obviously, Alana, you do too. But when they pop, if that pops right over, say, Bullitt County into Spencer County, you guys got the problem. But north of that into Louisville, you're in the clear. So where they pop in the afternoon is absolutely crucial of how the storyline is going to go tomorrow. But I have to give that buffer for all the way down to the parkways up to southern Indiana. I don't know where that's going to be. No one does. But that's the time period to watch for the second round to pop. Then as the second round gets organized, it will then drift into our southern counties. You saw the HER model, 6 to 9 p.m., and I'll put that overlap near the parkways and points south. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I'm trying to break down where the zones of concern will be and time periods to pay attention to. So if you're in that zone that's in Indiana or far northern counties, like you get into Jackson and Jennings and Lawrence County, you really only have the morning to worry about and midday. You don't have much to worry about after that. In Louisville, you can see there's quite the overlap in the Louisville area. You got a morning round, you got the redevelopment round 2 to watch, and then those you in our southern counties, you have some of the redevelopment and then how it evolves and pushes south from there on. Okay, so that's the time period we're looking at. As far as overall threats, tornado threat is there. It's not very high. It is there. It is elevated, so it is worth watching, mainly again for that second round. Wind threat, damage wind threat, it's up there for sure. Just because the tailpipe that's moving in from Illinois later tonight and tomorrow, that tailpipe, got to watch it. Damage winds are on the table, especially with the amount of heat and humidity. Hail threat is there. It's elevated, not overly high again, because I think some of it is going to melt, but still some hail reports. And I do think the flash flooding is a big concern here. Got to watch that, just given how we've been lately. It's worth mentioning, too, that for the areas that do not see much action on the storm side, you will have the issue. I know you're excited about this. You're going to have the issue of the heat. Areas that have the least amount of coverage of rain that is likely will have to deal with a heat advisory that is out from Jasper all the way down to Horse Cave, Kentucky. Then you got an extreme heat warning. It's out around Evansville. But even in this area, southwest of Louisville, the heat index may get close to 110. So that, even though you guys are not on the severe thunderstorm side as much of a concern, you're in the zone. We got another issue to watch and keep an eye on. That'll be until 9 o'clock tomorrow. All right, breaking down your chances. I'll get to some of your questions real quick. It's going to be adjustable here. We're going to be constantly changing this. We do this by hand. But in general, the morning round, midday-ish, there's a bit of a spike, a bit of a lull, and then another spike for the second round that forms, and then we're done after that. And this is for just Louisville, by the way. I can't do a chart for every single spot here in Wave Country, but just doing Louisville. Hey, Chris. Reinforced outflows have some very interesting setups this year. Yes, indeed. And the outflows are going to be one of the bigger issues, especially if we get some of these colliding and pushing out into other cells that are in a very hot environment. You can certainly get the interaction of that as proven this year to cause us more tornado warnings than hook echoes have been. It's been outflows that have been causing problems. And only for a brief window. That's the good news about an outflow. It only can create the environment for a certain amount of time. Then the storm itself will then become outflow dominant, and you'll lose the updraft. But for that period of time when they collide, yes, we do have to watch it. So that is a worry. Let's see. Hey, David, any chance of wildfire smoke keeps the storms in check? Good question. However, with the warm front moving in this afternoon and tonight, it actually will be pushing the smoke north, but I do think there'll be some smoke. In fact, there's some modeling that indicates some smoke ahead of the morning round that drifts over us. At the moment, I don't see a huge issue because I thought it would be a bigger player for the Midwest, or excuse me, the Great Lakes area for the weekend, and they still were able to get some severe weather out of their smoke. So it wasn't as bad as I think they thought it could have been. The enhanced risk probably was a little bit high on the leveling. But they did have some severe weather. So it can have some influence, but I don't think it's going to be a huge impact. But very good question. You're paying attention to know that can be a saver, right? You can help things. But at the moment, I don't see a huge issue with that. But that is on our list of things that we're monitoring to see how that interacts. There's so much to this tomorrow. It's very weird. I can't recall having an alert day for organized severe weather in late July very often here since I've been at Wave. It doesn't happen often. So when you're dealing with a very hot and humid environment, a good tailpipe coming in, and you got wildfire smoke thrown into it all. Yay. That's going to be a stressful forecast. It's not going to go probably as it looks on the modeling. Modeling's great. It gives us a storyline, but there's too many X factors here. So I think there's going to be some changes. So keep checking back into the forecast. I guarantee you it's going to be a different time period or a different threat that may evolve, but this is where we stand today. So just make sure to keep checking in this afternoon, tonight, and certainly tomorrow when I'm on. We'll be down to the nitty-gritty tomorrow with a lot of short-term stuff. So that's good. Hey, Mike. Hope you're doing well. Rough River Lake. Your afternoon, you're going to be dealing with just a very intense humidity type of setup. Your heat index could easily get to 108 there at Rough River, but the storm threat your threat's going to be afternoon after 4 p.m. And only for a short window. Once they get cooking in the afternoon, they'll be on the move. They won't linger too long. Let's see. Hi, Melissa. It seems we've had many of these weird weather patterns. Yes, that's the best way to define it. It's been a weird year. A lot of anomalies that have happened this year. And I do see more, as you'll see in a second. More are coming. So it's a fascinating setup. And with El Nino being at a level that we haven't had in modern times, potentially, there's a lot of unknowns with that for the fall all the way into spring. How is that going to be for not only the winter, but how will the spring be for the tornado season next year? A lot of questions on that coming in. Climatologists, meteorologists are having a field day right now. A lot of theories and forecasts. I get it. It's exciting. That's part of the game of forecasting, is trying to figure things out. Are there hints that we can take and learn from to forecast the future? That's the whole goal we have here. And it's not just randomly talk about storms. We're trying to figure things out. There is a puzzle to this. There are answers the atmosphere does try to tell you if you pay attention. And that's the thing. We all have to come together because we don't all catch the same things. But when we all share the data, then it starts getting our minds clicking. So it's a unified industry right now on forecasting. And that's good. Anywhere from chasers all the way up to climatologists. It's important to everybody communicate. Hey, Dan, El Nino causing more rain this summer. It's no doubt the jet in the Pacific has been very strong. So that is leading to a lot of it. It's cutting off a lot of the lows into Canada. And I think the blocking is allowing these to dip then south. But it's the block in Canada. You got a very strong jet colliding into it, but it won't allow the storms to get where they need to, especially in Ontario, which is why the wildfires are going wild in Canada. It's blocking them and sending them, stalling them or sending them into the Midwest and creating severe weather. So it's, it's coming in charging, that jet is, but it hits a brick wall. And the question is, will that be the case all the way into the winter? Are we going to keep seeing that idea at play where it keeps hitting a brick wall? Possibly. I think it's going to be something to watch. Let's see. Yeah, power outages, you're right. Because when they go out on a hot and humid day like this environment, it's going to be awful. But the good news is if you do lose power tomorrow, first off, I hope you get it back soon. But if you do lose it, temperatures will be dropping tomorrow night after the storms. We won't stay in the hot, humid environment. So that hopefully will help your home on the cooling side. That's the only positive. The only positive. Not having internet's a big one, right? Let's see. If I'll stop when I'm done with the long term here. You guys can restart the blog, and I'll go through all the times and placement for certain locations if you missed that. Otherwise, it'll take up a lot of time here. Hey, Courtney, what are the biggest concerns for the storm coming? Well, it's multiple storms. Biggest concern to me is going to be wind and flash flooding. Secondary concerns will be tornadoes and hail. But wind and flash flooding are bad enough. Hey, Dan, it's Bullitt County. It's like a tornado sandwich, right? Yeah, it's kind of, Bullitt County is an odd spot. You can get some morning around, and then you'll be probably the focal point for the afternoon to pop over you, and then it heads south. The afternoon pop is the biggest issue right now. That's so hard to forecast, and I really am trying to sniff it out to see if we can discuss that, because I think that's crucial, is where do they pop in the afternoon? Because where that is, it'll be rough for a few hours before it heads south. Okay, real quickly, the long term. We get into the drop. I do think some of you, the city of Louisville will likely hit 80. A lot of you will not. And I'm including Wednesday and Thursday on that idea. So this is going to be a nice break. Oh, boy. This is going to be nice to reset things and then get outside and not have to worry about smoke as much and not have to worry about the humidity and severe weather. So we got some quiet days coming. We're starting things off rock and rolling here this week, but it does improve the second half of the week. We get into the weekend. There are signs. We try to get built back the humidity, and there are a couple of lows that scoot on by on the southwest side of the dry dome that we will have over us. I don't know yet how much of this is going to survive to move in. We will add in low rain chances for it. Don't know yet how much this high will retreat to allow for this little wave to make it, but we'll add in low chances. Otherwise, guess what? We're going to do it again next week, a little later, but we're going to end up with another drop in temperature coming our way. Isn't that nice? And this one's going to last until early August. So it'll last a little longer than the one this week will. So we're going to reset again. Could we get another round of 70s out of this one for the end of July? Yes, we could. Isn't that wild? It's just insane. All right. And then after that, well, it's hard to get too far into August, but I do see at least 2 more cool waves in August. There will be some hot periods in between them, but there are 2 more shots that are showing up. Pretty wild pattern, guys. I hope you're excited about it. Let's get into the 10-day real quick, and then I do have to run because there's a lot to go over for midday that's coming in right now on the modeling, and I want to make sure I go over that before we get on the show at 11. 91 today. We'll go 88 in Louisville tomorrow just because we may get the morning round, and that could disrupt the thermometer at times, but it won't take it long to reset and bounce back up. So I'm not going to roll out 90s even in Louisville. It just depends on how much do we drop before we reset in the afternoon. Some of you in Kentucky, but certainly west of 65 in general, have a good chance to be in the low to mid 90s. And that heat index, again, close to 110. Yikes. After that, we get into the stormy weather, and then we calm things down for the rest of the week. And then we build back up the heat as we head into the weekend. And then there's that second drop that happens for next week. Quite the roller coaster ride on temperatures. Carrie asking about bad for Brian After Dark. I am still planning to do Brian After Dark on the 31st of July at night. So if you guys have ever seen that, I'm hoping to finally, if severe weather is going to be key. If we have any bad weather, I can't do it. But if it's calm, hopefully it will be, then I will be able to do it. But it'll be the last day of the month on a Friday. Okay, I'm going to run, and some of your questions I'll try to get to after I'm done here, but unfortunately, there's just too much going on for me to get to every single question, so I'll try, but don't think I'm ignoring you. Just keep in mind, this is going to keep evolving, changing, but we're going to be here, all right? We're always monitoring this, and we're going to be doing updates several times, and tomorrow morning, the blog when we're on, it's going to be kind of a crucial setup tomorrow. At that point, we'll have much more data to work with, and we'll know the storyline a bit more. So make sure to tune in tomorrow. I hope we see you at that point. Fair enough? All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you guys coming up on midday at 11 a.m.